Florijn Drie or Florijn Three. So Florijn, I hope I'm pronouncing the name right, is a new brand from the Netherlands that was established just recently and in 2014. And they reached out to us asking if we would review their first pieces. And actually, I was quite impressed by the design and by the look of this watch for something that's coming from a brand that's just debuting its first collection. So Florijn 3 of course implies that there are 3 different models, and they all share the exact same design, the same case, shape, and same movement. The difference is in the color scheme, which is for the Florijn 1, it's a stainless steel case with a steel bezel. Then the 2 has the steel case and the DLC coated bezel, and this one is the all black version with the DLC coated case and the DLC coated stainless steel bezel. I thought I would go with this all black version because it would make the large 45mm wide and 53mm tall case wear and look just a tiny little bit smaller, and actually it does. I think it would, if you want a massive large watch, I guess this is as big as a 45mm wide watch gets, with these massive structural lugs here with the straight sides and the thick construction. So if you go for one that's all stainless steel with the metal color, that will look even larger. I'm happy with this. I was also curious to see what kind of quality a $500 watch would represent, because that's what we are looking at here. And yeah, the DLC coating is really good for the money, and actually for any price segment. I'm really quite impressed by the quality of the coating on the case and the crown and also the bezel. So I think that came out really good. So as I said, the case is 45mm wide. It's water resistant to 300 meters. So this watch does not only look like a dive watch, you can actually go diving with it with a screw down crown and the unidirectionally rotating bezel. So unidirectional bezel is good. It's 120 clicks, so it has many more clicks than you would see on a 60 click bezel, actually obviously twice as much. I don't think you would definitely need that extra click in between the indices, but for some, I guess that's a welcome addition, and otherwise it's not that big of a deal. One thing that I noticed with the bezel is that there's a slight gap between the case and the bezel, which of course there has to be for in all watches with rotating bezels. So there's this little gap, and the gap is just a tiny little bit too big. So anytime there's a little impact from this direction, as you can hear, it makes this ticking kind of noise, and I'm sure they will be able to correct that in later on in the production with some corrections and some feedback to the suppliers that they are using. It's not that big of a deal. The bezel still has this very good tension and very solid action, so it does not affect that at all. It's just the fact that there's a little gap here, and the bezel can move like this, and when it does that, it can make that kind of ticking sound. It's not that big of a deal again, and we've seen major brands have much greater issues with their watches and collections that they have had going for years and years. So for a newcomer brand and their first collection, something like this is not that big of a deal, really. The dial is very legible. As you can see, there's not much texture going on there. It's a satin finished black dial with the traditional sword hands, which are actually substantially sized, which is a very nice detail, and it's just always a welcome development. It's so nice to see not those little tiny annoying hands, but properly sized ones. The indices, as you can see, are these large blocks which appear to be loomed, and indeed they are. They did fool me into thinking and expecting that they would glow like really, really bright, and I was a little bit disappointed to see that they don't. It's not just that they don't last too long, but their brightness is not that excellent either. So I would say that one thing that I would like the brand to work on is the quality of the lume on these large blocks, because it's not that you have these tiny little thin skinny indices. These are large blocks, so I would say put some more luminova on there, and we've seen watches in this price segment feature some excellent lume, so I would like to see something like C3 or even W9 in blue color, or whatever they can come up with and that would just make the dial really pop, and indices pop at night. And I think at this price point that should kind of work, and I really hope they do, because, and the reason I'm saying all this is because I really like this dial, because it looks very simple and it's highly legible. So I just hope that they can make that happen, because that would just make this dial and this face from good to excellent. The movement inside is a psychomechanical movement, the NH35 to be specific. It offers automatic winding and also hand winding, hacking, and the date at 6 o'clock. So it's a mechanical movement, obviously, and not of the lower grade, because there are some watches, again, in this price segment that we've seen come with Miyotas and other lower end movements which don't even, sometimes don't offer hand winding or don't hack or that kind of thing. Here you have everything, so everything you would expect from a more refined movement. Accuracy has been okay. It gained about 5 or 6 seconds a day on the wrist, which is I guess is acceptable. The date is at 6 o'clock, and it has these large cyclops on there, which offers plenty of magnification, but I'm not really sure whether or not it's necessary, because with that magnification it also adds a lot of distortion, so I guess more than you would see on some of the other watches. So if you can peek under there, you can see that the date disc is actually not that horribly deep from the plane of the dial. So most of the time when you see a cyclops on the sapphire crystal, it's there because the date is somewhere deeper from below the plane of the dial, and the magnification is required so that you can read the tiny little date number on there. Here I think it's more of a design choice, and I'm not really sure whether I like it or not. I think I could do without it. And in fact, of course, it's not an option at this moment, but if you ask them, I guess they could do a version or just deliver a piece without it, with it taken off. You can actually remove these yourself if you want to do that, but I wouldn't bother. But yeah, I just hope that they will do a version where you can opt for one without offer a crystal without the cyclops. As I said, legibility is nonetheless good. So the case is once again is large at 45. I will put it on so that you can see how it wears. The lugs are really long at 53, so you have to think twice before you get it if you have very small wrists like I do. But actually, I think you can pull it off, because it sits very comfortably on this NATO strap. It's very secure. It doesn't wobble about too much. You have a lot of extra holes in there, and you can get the fit just right. I like the strap. It's a good quality strap. Of course, NATO straps don't really get that fantastic all the time. Here, it's okay. I like how it matches the color scheme of the watch, which is this black and white scheme with the little red logo on there. The watch also comes with two other straps. One is a leather strap that you can see here for a more elegant kind of look. The lugs are 24 millimeters, so you should be able to pick one of the millions and millions of aftermarket straps from $5 to several $100s that are present and available on the market today. But here you get these versions. So you have this leather strap, which with the texture doesn't really match the dial. One of the rules that I try to follow is that if the watch has a plain dial with no texture on it, I try and not match it to a strap that has texture on it. So I wish that this was some sort of non-textured leather, but still, I guess it's okay, and it's comfortable. It's flexible, so that's good. And the same can be said about the rubber strap. It's high quality. It's not one of those super cheapo, like cheap and cheerful strap options. You can see the stitching on there is nicely done. The buckle is nice and DLC coated. It's flexible. It's not one of those horribly stiff and just awfully uncomfortable straps. It's very comfortable actually. And when you go near the water, you can wear either the NATO strap or the rubber strap. And for this kind of money, I think it's just nice to have all these come with the watch. The watch also comes with a little tool so that you can change the straps yourself with a little practice. So this was the review of the Florijn Drie or Florijn 3. The price is 425 euros with tax included. That's about 480 US dollars. and you can see the full review on aBlogtoWatch.com soon. Thanks.